It is day 2 of Indianapolis 100 prep, and we're back here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for day 2 of practice sessions. Good morning and happy Friday, everybody, and welcome back here to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. As always, Elijah Leonard here, and once again, these 34 drivers will be back out on track to get some more laps under their belts, and also kind of get used to the new conditions that are presenting themselves here this morning. It's cloudy here at Indy, and which will mean that the speeds will go up because of the fact that the grip level is going to be just a little bit higher when there is cloud cover in the area. So you have the number 19 of Darren Allen coming out first, and he will be on the clock, and he will be beginning his first lap of the day. So these drivers throughout these next few practice sessions will definitely have to face a lot of changes to track condition each morning, and also midday as well, and even having to change the setup every now and then, because sometimes when you're in the car for one day, it'll handle just like a beauty. You can get in the car the next day and may not handle the same way that you set it up. So it's always good to try to get the cars tuned up for no matter what condition that the Indianapolis 100 may be ran under. But nonetheless, still gonna be very fun to see these cars out on the racetrack, nonetheless making laps here at the Brickyard, and definitely is going to be fun. Looks like Madison Tull early in the session in car number 10, almost picking up where she left off with that 39.568. I wouldn't be surprised if lap times definitely did get a little bit faster a little later on. Allen just jumped up to second with a 39. Well, now it's fourth. Do you expect that top spot to change quite frequently? Same for other positions that are positions on the scoreboard, not positions on track, but more so on the scoreboard, such as Nathan Stapleton, for instance, who has just now broken into the 38-second bracket, 39.984 for the PNC Bank machine. But this is Madison Tull here that we're looking at right now. She was the fastest in opening practice yesterday, and looks like that car is pretty close to where it was, despite the fact that she was in the top 10. Now she got knocked out of the top 10, but still, this car is really fast. So I would definitely have to say, once we get down to the later sessions of Indianapolis 100 prep, do watch out for this 10 car, because Madison Tull has a really fast race car. She'll be heading up north to the Michigan International Speedway tomorrow to try to get into the Michigan race. So best of luck to Madison Tull, trying to get into the Wilson Security 400, which is race 9 of the WLA Nuts Energy Cup Series, which will be ran on Monday at 5 o'clock Eastern. There is a chance that race could get moved to 4 o'clock Eastern, most likely, but we'll just have to wait and see what the schedule is going to look like. So that way we can try to kind of work around the Indianapolis 250 schedule, that Indianapolis 250 / Coke 600 schedule for the Haas IndyCar Series. They're running their Indianapolis 250 on Memorial Day weekend. They'll be running their race before the Indianapolis 100. But as far as their festivities go over on the NOFSRL side of things, we're gonna try to work around that. So just gonna try to keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully see what happens. You see, you're not seeing double, ladies and gentlemen. That's Daniel Voiles in the 26 in front, and coming up alongside him is the 24 of Elijah Gordon. Remember, both of those are NOS Energy Cup Series regulars, both side by side. That's for track position, but it's not for an official position on the racetrack. Right now, Voiles finds himself 11th on the charts with a 39.079. Elijah Gordon is just 1/10 of a second behind him with a 39.179. There you see Nathan Stapleton in the number 9 machine, who is now second on the charts. It's Ozam Hamid. Almost. Oh, boy, there it is. Oh, no. Oh, no, right back up the track. Holy cow. The top two in this session just wrecked. Oh, my goodness. Brandon Nelson, I think, also went for a wild ride. We're going to take a look at that incident at the end of this session. Holy cow. Not sure what that was all about, but it's a good thing that this is just a video game. If this was real life, that would have been very, very disastrous. It's pretty fun. It's actually pretty funny to say that in opening session, we had Nathan Orman get involved in some sort of incident that was none of his doing. Today, Nathan Stapleton is in an incident that was none of his doing. So, in the first 2 sessions of Indianapolis 100 prep, the Nathans are not really faring all that well in the early going of Indianapolis 100 prep. Oh my goodness, Orman making a 3 wide underneath of Dylan Cunningham and Eli Bright. Thankfully, they settle it down to double file, because we have seen in past races that have been ran here to Indianapolis Motor Speedway that 3 wide going through these corners just does not work, because sometimes you'll have some drivers carrying a little bit too much speed getting into the corner, and sometimes they'll wash up the racetrack, and pretty much the rest is history. There you see Nathan Stapleton coming back out onto the track with a backup car, and perfect timing, because Madison Tull is way out there, so he could possibly get up there with Maddie and try to draft with her. But we'll just have to see if he can actually do that. Madison Tull, I guess they don't really have their setup right for cloudy conditions, because they are 19th on the charts with a 39.174. If you remember back in yesterday morning's practice opening day, these drivers were not running these lap times because it was sunny, the racetrack was pretty slick, grip levels were pretty low. So that meant that there were drivers that were running 39.6 lap times. As fast as 39.6, as slow as 40.8. One driver in particular that ran a 40.8. If I can go back and get the results from yesterday morning's practice, that was Brittany White, who ran a 40.8. And why don't we go find Brittany White, not too far ahead of Ozam Hamid, and as well as Daniel Voiles and Elijah Gordon. And yeah, Brittany White, same results, a 40.3. I'm thinking, oh, there's another crash up ahead. It looks like Dylan Young in the 14, Dylan Cunningham in the 25. They both went spinning going into turn 1. That was the first thing I saw, but I didn't see everything else. But most certainly, I'm thinking now, as far as Brittany White goes, the ratings on the car are probably still set to real life ratings. So my apologies to Daniel Voiles on that regard. I completely did not. I don't think it's either the ratings or it's just the car itself, but most likely it's the ratings. So after this session, you'll see tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, hopefully that problem is fixed. So after this practice session, I will immediately go in and readjust the ratings to 100, which is basically the ratings that everyone is running. So yeah, so my apologies there, Boils. I did not, wasn't quite paying full attention, but hopefully that doesn't happen again. I mean, I can't make any promises that it won't happen again. It could, but I'll try my best to make sure it doesn't. There you see the Penske teammates, the number 22 of Stephen Cologne, who went for a wild ride yesterday after just a huge crash, just absolutely huge. And thankfully Cologne is all right. It's just a video game, like I said earlier, so just be thankful for that. Saw a little earlier, you saw the 81 of Michael DeFeo get into the outside wall on the previous lap. That was coming out of turn 3. Here's a 12 of Mitchell Collins, right now 6th, 38.981 for the Verizon machine, the 5G Verizon machine. Not sponsored by Verizon, by the way. This video, excuse me, is not sponsored by Verizon. Just wanted to point that out. Excuse me, getting hiccups. My gosh. See, this is what happens when you eat food and then later go on to drink milk. Yeah, these having a little bit of pre-celebratory milk, if anything. But hopefully Ryan Gundillo has something to say once it comes down to game time for the Indianapolis 100. Right now, the setup on that car is not where he wants it to be for a cloudy condition like this. 39.135 for the 18 machine. But Gundillo still is very confident that his crew will be able to get the setup just right, and they can be true contenders when it comes down to the Indianapolis 100 on Monday, May 25th, on Memorial Day at noon Eastern. Be sure to tune in to that race at noon Eastern. 5 hours before the WLA NOS Energy Cup Series halfway race at Daytona, the Freedom 400. So be sure to tune into that race. So that should be very fun to watch. Right now, your top 10, as we are past halfway in practice session number 2. Why don't we go ahead and find Ozam Hamid. There he is with Nathan Orman, and as well as Greg Rutz. 2, 3, and 4 all in one group. Just not in that order, however. But Ozam Hamid is the driver who is on top of the charts with his 38.881. He's remained untouched thus far in this session. Nathan Stapleton 2nd. Then you have Darren Allen 3rd. Nathan Orman in 4th. How about that? Two Nathans inside of the top 5. Both of them actually inside of the top 5. And then you have the 33 of Eli Bright completing that top 5. Then you have Mitchell Collins 6th. Then 7th, Josh Torres in car number 7. Pretty ironic there. Then 8th is the 21 of Cody Smart. 9th, Samuel Osgin. And Michael DeFeo completes the top 10 in practice session number 2. In day 2 of Indianapolis 100 prep. Closing in on 5 minutes to go. You see the Penske cars kind of working together here. Ozam Hamid trying to get alongside of Nathan Orman. But right now, Orman is able to get up in front of Greg Rutz and get a little bit of help from him. And now Orman stays ahead of Ozam Hamid. Go a little further up ahead. There's Brock Nelson having a little bit of contact from Trey Wright going into the corner. Yes, Wright just wanted to have a little bit of track position and just try to get by Brock Nelson. have a little bit of an update on the top 10. Daniel Voiles has broken inside of the top 10 with a 38.9.81. Where the heck is Voiles? There he is. I think I might have just circled around the racetrack and not even noticed, and probably didn't even notice he was right there. He's just jumped up to 5th, 38.965. So now putting Voiles inside of the top 5 in this session. He almost got turned by Nathan Orman. Let's see what happens. Coming off of turn 4, heading down the front straightaway. And we are within the 5-minute bracket. 5 minutes to go here in Indianapolis 100 practice. Day 2 of Indianapolis 100 prep right here on the Leonard Station. It's going to be one fun time here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, especially on Memorial Day with all that is going on, especially in the NR community altogether. You know, you have NOFSRL preparing for the Indianapolis 250, and then you also have the Chick-fil-A Cup Series over there with their Coca-Cola 600 and their other festivities, Hers Dash Series. You know, you have a lot of things happening within a short period of time, and it's all going to be scrunched and just meshed together in 1 week, or at least these next couple of weeks, and it is going to be one exciting second half of May, and we're glad that you guys are tuning in along and watching some of Napa Fan stuff, along with possibly Marty Zakala. I think Marty's maybe doing something similar. But mostly, I'm understanding that Napa Fan is doing his Indianapolis 250 festivities as well as other festivities with his NOFSRL series. But as far as over here, just even though I'm trying to work around it, but still, it's a very exciting time in the NR community in 2020, and we're definitely glad that you're along for the ride. Ryan Gondillo just came up in front of Ozam Hamid and almost wrecked himself. 2.5 minutes remaining here in day 2 of Indianapolis 100 prep. Ozam Hamid is still on top of the charts. The top 4 have remained unchanged. The only difference inside of the top 5 is Daniel Voiles breaking in. Well, now Orman. Well, Madison Tall is 3rd on the charts. Tall is 3rd. 38.957. I don't think I noticed that. I might have said it a little earlier, but still. I mean, Madison Tall in 3rd. Oh, we got another crash. Who's that? I couldn't tell who that was. I couldn't quite catch it. But we'll definitely find out who that is once we take a look at replays. But oh my goodness, Madison Tall is on top. Well, I mean, 3rd on the charts, 3rd on the scoreboard, 38.957 for Madison Tall. Guess they're definitely getting the setup right on that number 10 machine, and they're definitely preparing for cloudy conditions as well. It's possible that we may run a cloudy Indianapolis 100, but we'll just have to wait and see what the weather is going to look like on Memorial Day over here in Indiana. 1 minute remaining here in Indianapolis 100 prep, day 2. You have 2 Penske cars thrown under a blanket almost. Ozam Hamid almost getting turned by Daniel Voiles coming out of turn 2. But we have another 40 seconds left. This group is getting pretty darn racy. Slicing and dicing and making a lot of moves on track. I thought they were going to be 3 wide there, but according to that shot, that is. But still double file, and that's actually a pretty wise thing. 15 seconds remaining. So far, no change in the top 10, as you just heard a little ding, so apologies about that. I believe an additional 45 seconds will be added on the clock for these drivers. Sorry, an additional 40 seconds for these drivers to put down one more good lap time. And Gordon is put in the middle, making a little bit of contact with Orman. And they're gonna keep it together, hopefully. Oh boy. Oh boy. The benefit of having a smaller pack like this is that we're less likely to have a big crash, so thankfully they got out of it. But Ozam Hamid is fastest in day 2 of Indianapolis 100 practice sessions. Then you have Dylan Young in second, Nathan Stapleton third, Madison Tall fourth, Darren Allen fifth, Nathan Orman sixth, Daniel Voyle seventh. Then 8th will be the 23 of Noah Clifton, 9th Eli Bright, and Mitchell Collins completes the top 10. So, while we still have a chance, why don't we go back through and take a look at the 3 incidents that definitely were, you know, that occurred. So, shut up, official. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at the incidents throughout this practice session? So this was early in the session. You see Ozam Hamid just slide into the corner. He went into the turn 3 a little too hot and then gets into Nathan Stapleton. Gets in his left rear and away they go. Down on the inside. No safer barrier down there, so they hit that inside wall hard. Ozam Hamid upside down. Stapleton comes up and collects Ahmed Mahalovic in the 28. The 2 of Ozam Hamid. Just goes for a spin. You see Stapleton bottom of your screen, tumbling side over side. End over end for that number 9 machine. Madison Toll just barely got by that. But I believe, yes, we're going to watch with Brandon Nelson. He just gets into the back. He hits the back end of Hamid really hard. And now he's going flying. Doing some barrel rolls. And he does come to rest on all 4 wheels. That number 15 definitely did take a wild ride, that is for sure. But that was the first incident in this practice session. Now let's go ahead and see what happened to Dylan Cunningham and Dylan Young. So there was a 3-wide situation on the front straightaway. There's Cody Smart on the outside, Simon Oskin on the bottom, Darren Allen, in the middle, and Oskin comes up and gets into the left rear of Allen, sends him down in the inside wall. Wow! That car was about 50 feet or 20 feet or so up in the air. That car gets stuck in the catch fence. Thankfully, like I said, and I've said it a million times, thankfully this is just a video game and not real life. But if that was real life and there were fans in the stands, that would have been horrible. That just would have been horrifying. But here comes Dylan Cunningham. He gets into Oskin. Dylan Young was just driving, trying to avoid Cunningham, but just really he didn't have anywhere else to go. And pretty funny to say, hysterically funny to say that both Nathans had some sort of incident throughout these practice sessions. Both Dylans have had some sort of issue in this practice session. So for the Nathans and for the Dylans, not faring too well early in Indianapolis 100 preparations for these 34 drivers. But thankfully, there were no fans in the stands, and they're definitely going to have to do some quote-unquote repairs to the catch fence, which really, there isn't really any repairs anyway, because, you know, like I said, video game. Now let's see what happened that caused incident number 3. I saw one car up against the wall, so we will take a look at that right now. It's the tale of turn 3, part 2. This time, it's a different Penske driver. It's Mitchell Collins. I believe it was Michael DeFeo who held his line, but also Mitchell Collins came up and got into Michael DeFeo, and watch this ride for Mitchell Collins. DeFeo just goes spinning back up across the track, but Collins takes some heck of a ride. That car just goes flying up into the air. Swallow along with Michael DeFeo. I think he was the next car to get hit by somebody. It was either him or somebody else. It was either him or Mitchell Collins. Most likely it was DeFeo because he's within the racing line. So let's see who comes along and hits him. It's the 30, no, not the 31, not Nick Kennedy or Juan Fernandez. Not Brandon Nelson, but it was Eli Bright in the 33. So Bright in the 33 was the car that was up against the wall. My, oh my. So we had some pretty crazy incidents here in the second practice session of the Indianapolis 100 preparations. And, man, oh man, this is, it's going to be one interesting time trying to get all this situated, but until then, a lot of these drivers are definitely going to have to be a little bit more careful in these later practice sessions. So with that, that is going to wrap up day 2 of Indianapolis 100 preparations. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked the video, go ahead, give it a like. If you have not considered subscribing yet, I recommend you do so in order to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future, as well as future episodes of your favorite podcast coming out throughout the rest of this weekend. Onward to the next. I'm Elijah Leonard from the Leonard Station signing out, and I will see you guys on the very next video.